Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Talking Geeky Stuff. So today's video is about the follow-up and my thoughts on the Nintendo Direct that happened yesterday, 17th of February, and a bit about my thoughts and if I'm disappointed or was I happy, did my predictions come true, and so on. But before that, let's talk about the highlights of the show. I won't talk about it, but instead of talking about, I made a little video clip of the highlights. So here it is. Please enjoy. I hope you enjoyed that video that I did together. So those were my highlights of the show, the games. Looking forward to those. So as I was saying, today's video is about following up and my thoughts on the Direct. Now some of you may, if you saw my video yesterday that I posted, I talked about mostly two of the franchises, Zelda and Metroid, both with their 35th anniversary this year. I talked about some predictions and what I would love to see and so on. But before we go into that, as you can see here, you've got images of 4 franchises anniversaries this year. But before we go into each of those, I just want to talk a little bit about my thoughts on the Direct itself. So overall, I would rate it as a 7 out of 10. And I only want to talk about from 2 sides. One from a fan's point of view, me personally as a fan, and and the other side I want to talk about is from maybe a business point of view as well. So let's talk about if I was, as a fan point of view, was I a little bit disappointed? I'd be lying if I said yes. Sorry, no, I'd be lying if I said no. Got my words mixed up there. So I was just a little bit disappointed, because I think that it's really hard to not be hyped about Nintendo Direct. And considering in the last, over 500 days since we had a mainline Direct, what was it, E3 2019, since we had that. And, that E3 was considered, I personally think it was the best Nintendo Direct of all time. I mean, you had amazing games one after the other. I mean, especially the ending, you had Banjo-Kazooie and Breath of the Wild 2, right? So it was pretty hard it's going to be hard to follow up with that. Then, of course, the pandemic kicked in. That caused everything, of course, caused issues with everything. And, of course, Nintendo had to kind of do mini directs, partner showcase directs, of course, using Twitter, other forms of social media to get their advertisement out, right? All considering, I felt they did a pretty good job. But I think that from a fan point of view, you can't help it, but especially considering this is actually a pretty long direct, 50 minutes. So your mind goes crazy. What can they fill in those directs? I felt it would have been better if, say, for example, if they cut out, say, 15 minutes, say, have 35 minutes of core games, and 15 minutes for, say, the smaller games, and make that into a mini direct the following week. If they condensed it down to maybe 35 minutes, I felt it could have been easily a 9 out of 10. Also, that with games like Monster Hunter and Bravely Default, both games I've eagerly await, of course. I have pre-ordered those games, looking forward to playing those. But I felt that we know a lot about those games already. We know the release dates, we've seen a lot about the trailers and everything, so I felt that they didn't really have to show those trailers. They could have showed a bit of the Monster Hunter exclusive console. That would have been great. But I felt that could have been replaced by other games, if they had other games to replace, of course. So that is my fault. But as in saying that, from a business point of view, I felt that, considering this is only February, so we've got 10 more months to go for the year, right? And it looks like in Japan anyway, the pandemic kind of eased off a bit. So hopefully Nintendo will go back to their routine. February has always been February, March has always been the first direct, and then of course they have like a spring one, and then a summer one, which kind of coincide with the E3, and they usually cap it off by a autumn direct. And then of course in between those main directs, you have the mini directs as well, and of course now adding on the partner showcase directs. So you got loads of in between directs as well. So I can understand that with games, or the games that are here, they don't want to kind of show their cards up, show their hands, so to speak. Of course, from a Zelda fan, I wanted a bit more, but at the same time, I understand that they got a whole year to promote Zelda, so they'll need to really show everything. I was happy that they showed DLC for Age of Calamity and Skyward Sword, which in my last video I did predict it would be A, a separate game, and B, coming out in the summer. So I'm happy about that. And of course, it seems like it's 60 frames per second, and they hopefully better controls. You got both motion and button controls, which is cool. So that was a good part. But a little bit disappointed that they didn't showcase anything about Metroid. I mean, we all know that Nintendo is sitting on Metroid Prime Trilogy HD. I would love to have seen that. Just a little announcement. I know that Metroid Prime 4 has been delayed. Switching to different developers has really threw a spanner in the works. So I can understand Nintendo's plan to delay a little bit. But a little announcement for Metroid Prime Trilogy, or maybe a little tease of the new rumored 2D would have been nice. Then of course, Donkey Kong, one of the OGs icons, video game icons, popular culture icons, really. I mean, in the last few years, maybe a decade or more now, Donkey Kong has slowly kind of drifted down to the mid-tier. So deep down, I didn't expect anything from Nintendo, maybe later on in the year, but I was hoping they would announce maybe a Donkey Kong Country, update. Maybe not as a physical release, but at least in the eShop. But who knows? They got, like I said, 10 more months. So I really hope they will focus on Donkey Kong. I think Donkey Kong needs some love. I mean, look in the past few years, you've got franchises that's overtaken Donkey Kong. Fire Emblem, Xenoblade, Splatoon, all overtaking Donkey Kong. I'm not saying that they don't deserve it, but I just feel like Donkey Kong needs some love. And of course, speaking about another anniversary was Fire Emblem, 30th anniversary this year, but I didn't expect anything from that, to be honest. But we did get a good announcement for Pyra and Mythra going into Smash, so that's a good one. And of course, early this year, or late last year, they released the first Fire Emblem Special Edition. And then you got Pokemon. Honestly, this one I didn't expect anything, because I know the Pokemon company will do their own direct. But it would have been a big surprise if they had maybe a teaser saying, coming on 20th of March, a Pokemon 25th anniversary direct. Or something like that would have been cool. But I wasn't too fussed about that because I kind of knew, they won't do anything about Pokemon. I know that would be a separate. So apart from that, that is just me as a fan speaking. I would love to have seen, a little bit more about these franchises, especially Metroid. I mean, Metroid is long overdue. There's got to be something about it. I'm hoping not this direct, but the next one's got to have something. Then, of course, a little love for Donkey Kong as well. But like I said, from a business point of view, I can understand it because you don't want to show all your card now. You've got 10 more months to do. You've got many more directs. You've got many more mere directs. Let alone, and not to say that, who's to say that Zelda and Metroid or even Donkey Kong won't have their own direct, their own anniversary direct, just like they did with the Mario last year, right? So who's to say that won't happen? So from a fan point of view, like I said, 7 out of 10 is not a bad score. It was a little bit above average, but like I said, I overhyped it myself. It's almost impossible not to, but hey, that's what being a fan's about, right? Somehow you just kind of let your mind and your imagination run wild. So, I got to give myself, blame myself for that really overall. But from a business point of view, I think Nintendo did the right choice by holding back certain things to showcase later on. So it's like a double sweet and sour, so to speak. So overall score 7 out of 10. Yeah. Anyway, so please let me know what you think about the direct. If you liked it, if you thought it was good, average, below average, disappointed. Did you want to hear more from these franchises that I'm showcased? Please let me know in the chat. Anyway, and please give this video a like and subscribe if you want to see or hear me talk about geeky stuff.